We added something in today that's special, and the leaders got together at lunch, and we said, you know, what's one thing that really would impact everybody? And it's Tom telling us how to do 7,000 transactions a year. Just kidding. That would be great. But I want to hear testimonials. I want to hear stories of people that have been here a year ago, and now they have this going on. I want to hear people that have done this, and now they're seeing this. I want to hear from some people so you can connect with the story, because again, remember what I talked about. Belief is everything, right? Because if you believe it, you will see it. If you try to see it and then believe it, it doesn't work that way. I don't remember if it was Dr. John Gray or somebody that I really admired, looked up to. He told me that faced like this far away from me one day, and I was like, wow, that's powerful. And he goes, when you feel it, then you'll really appreciate it. You know, believe it and you will see it, or see it and then I'll believe it. Right? So as you're sitting here today, you might be in, once I see it, I'll believe it. And then you come to this event and you go, you know, I see it a little more. My belief is building. I'm a 6, I'm a 7, and I'm an 8, and a 9. What is Brent Gove's belief in EXP today? It's not a 10, it's higher, right? What is Gene Frederick's belief in what we're doing for the industry? He's got both hands up in the air, 10. Right? So belief is this, and this testimonial thing that we kind of added into here was meant to be just that. It's to help you move that belief meter from a 5 to a 6, or a 6 to a 7, or a 7 to an 8. All right? Real quick, Doug, be honest with me. What's your belief in EXP on a scale of 1 to 10? You can't say 7. Okay, definitely a 10. I appreciate that. Who's newer in EXP over the last couple months? You got to be brutally honest if you're going to do this. What's your belief in EXP? A scale of 1 to 10, can't say 7.
Well, after being here and hearing everybody's testimony and seeing these humble men and women speak of who they are and what they've accomplished, absolutely a 10. What I see and what I hear from you guys is what I already possess. I can do this. That's right.
Amen. I love that. Thank you so much. And now back it up. What were you before this event, honestly, if you can?
I was a mom. And I was a 3.
That's a 3. Do you see what we're talking about here? This is something that not only magical moments, but we're moving people from a 3 to a 10 in their mind. And then they've got us on their back to help support them. All right, so this is kind of a little special treat. We want to add a couple people. Come on, let's get up here, Deb Britton. Come on. Woo!
Baby, 10.
You only have about 2 to 3 hours, so if you could cut it down.
I'm
but
ready.
honestly,
Let's rock.
3 to 5 minutes,
Yes,
share
sir.
with us your experience, your testimony, and whatever it is in your words.
Well, I praise God for this company, bottom line. I'm sorry, I'm going to give all glory. You know, I knew, you know, the numbers worked and it all looked real pretty and that was all fabulous, but I hopped on that plane and went to Cabo and sat there in that room and just wept at the palatable humility of the servant leaders in this organization. I went, oh my God, this is my tribe. These are my people, praise Jesus. And when, Keller Williams was so gracious to just send both my licenses back to this state, I said, well, hallelujah, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. And, this leadership team jumped up, had both states transferred within 24 hours and had me rocking and rolling. And I'm just so, so grateful. These guys, y'all, they are what they appear to be. They are who they say they are. They will follow through. They will serve you. They will be there for whatever you need, anything you need. Dawn he's sitting back there laughing because he's like, Deb doesn't like to do what I tell her to do. She likes to go try to figure out her own way. And so I do, but I still hear everything Dawn says. And, we went a little bit of a different route. But praise be unto Jesus, we launched everything in May. Thank God for my team that's here, my strategic partner, Teresa, and others who have come alongside. And we began to attract. And so, again, we will have a soft launch. Come on, Denise. And in May, did our first event in June, and we've got 8 rock stars in the funnel. And so, and these are rock stars. Come on, Eric, give it up. We've got 8 rock stars in the funnel, y'all, and we're not doing anything different than just being who we are and doing it almost like Dawn. says to do it.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Give her a big hand. Give her a big hand. Hadley, where are you at? He's 7 foot tall. He's in the front row. I didn't see him. Tell us about your experience, please, sir. I had the pleasure of getting to know him over the last couple days. Did not know him before this. We've become best friends.
We're best friends.
Best friends. That's my people, seriously. And I told him that I said, not only are we going to connect and be something special together, but that you meet people that are kind of wired the same way. And he's got a golf swing that I envy. But tell us your story. We shared yesterday a little bit of your EXP journey, and I'd love you to share for a few minutes, please.
Well, I just want to start off by saying being here in a room with individuals that think big and go big and take massive action, it's inspiring. The fire's going, the gas is on it. When we get home, we go back to our normal lives. Let's keep the fire burning. And whatever we are committing ourselves to do in this moment, like what Russell said, time block, take actions. I know I haven't been the best recruiter. So my story, me and my wife, I think it was back in 2017, my wife quit her job at Goldman Sachs to become a mortgage lender, and I really didn't know what a mortgage lender was. I was finishing up college and had a sales job. I went golfing on Tuesday. By the way, golfing all the time and money I've spent has paid off. Met Randy Bird, Gene Frederick, Tom Daves. So my wife can't be mad after this week. I got my ROI, baby. So maybe just not a happy wife, but we'll work on that. When the residual income hits, we'll be fine. So anyways, I went golfing on a Tuesday, and I saw these successful looking dudes. So I paired up with them and asked them what they did, and they told me they were mortgage lenders and how much they were making. And it was kind of like that story that Gene tells, like Wolf of Wall Street. You show me a check, I come work for you. Next thing I know, me and my wife were both in the mortgage industry, very little connections, trying to live the life of our dreams. Fast forward 6 months, we were in Utah. I said, honey, this isn't working out. I'm going to get my real estate license. I went to a boutique firm at in my hometown, which is about an hour and a half from here in Fallon, Nevada. And they have about 90% of the market share. Within about 2 weeks, one of the main lenders for that brokerage retires. My wife moved into that office and started getting quite a bit of business from my brokerage. Well, I was doing good. First year, I don't know. First year, no, just my sphere and trying to learn the business. I had no mentors, guys. EXP is full of knowledge. I've learned more in the past 12 months than I did in my previous 3 years of being in industry, just from what these guys provide. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. I went into an office. We were so old school. We would print out, the contract, the disclosures, paper hole punch, put it in a folder, and I'm like, what are we doing? Like, this is not the way to do business, But I was selling. I think first year I did maybe 24 houses, and that was more money than I was used to. So I was like, okay, it's working. And then all of a sudden I saw these big dogs. My sponsor, Jimmy Rex. Also, a couple other guys from Keller Williams moved to EXP, and I said, well, what's this EXP thing? So I reach out to Jimmy. He has lunch with me, gets me on a call with Don Yoakum, and I was signed up by the end of the call. I was hesitant. I was like, Don, I'm just getting into production. Like, I'm not ready to go off by myself. I'm still learning the game. He says, Hadley, it's financial malpractice to not join us with your production level. Ooh. Yeah, so I don't know.
Don's a closer.
He closed hard. He closed hard.
So tell us about your stock.
I'm getting there.
We're only here today.
Okay. Is the Southwest flights fixed? Yeah, are we ready? No. So all of a sudden, and one thing, Randy, that you kind of taught me this weekend without you knowing is I see people that believe in me, even though, sometimes you might not believe in yourself, but others see in you what you don't, and it gives you inspiration.
See why he's my brother?
So by August 1st is my anniversary date. My broker told me I'll never be anything without their brokerage. I think I went out, and I think since I've joined EXP, I've probably closed 60 or 60 something transactions. I checked my stock. I just enrolled in the stock option plan, and the Icon Agent Award. I still have like, you know, I got to go to a couple events and do the cultural commitment. But just from doing production, nothing else, my stock's at 25,000.
And he's not been paid all of it yet. That's really epic. So you know what? Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you for being vulnerable. And thank you for crying, because I cried yesterday twice.
You gotta cry, baby. You're gonna cry when I kick your ass.
He whispered in my, I'm kicking your ass tomorrow on the golf course. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. You see why we added these stories? This is really what it's all about for me. Brett Schwartz, can you come up here, please? No pitching your tax flow stuff for 20 minutes. 5 minutes. I want you to talk about your story. Okay. I didn't even tell him I'm bringing him up because I want him to be authentic. But what's your story with EXP? What's it done for you, and where does it put you?
Yeah, so I'll start with brokerage. Started back in 2006 at Marcus and Millichap, selling investment real estate, multifamily properties. Grew up in the business, loving it, family, building homes in the Bay Area. So I fell in love with the sticks and bricks at a young age. And then I was in like the boiler room. Remember you see that movie, Boiler Room? I think that's what it's called, right? One of those ones where they're just calling. That's all I did. I just cold call like a madman. Related a little bit with Darren with the 400 calls. We'd make like 250 a week, and that was a lot. So Darren, that's amazing to make 400 a day. But so we learned the real estate business through the fire of cold calling and meeting with people and literally knowing like nothing about brokerage. But I had amazing mentors, and I had amazing coaching and training. And then the 2008 crash hit, and it went from making a little bit of money to like nothing overnight. Has everyone ever been there? And so I had been successful in college and basketball, and my parents were divorced at a young age, and so I learned at a young age I wanted to make a lot of money, but not so much to have the money, but really to have the security. Because my mom, let's say my dad didn't pay child support, right? So my dad had a ton of wealth, and then my mom had like no wealth, right? And so I said, you know what, I want to do really successful so my family doesn't have to feel that pressure. But I hit the 2008 wall, and all of a sudden it was, oh my gosh, like all of the flashbacks of like parents' divorce start to hit. I'm like, what's going on? And so I'm newly married, baby on the way, like, oh, how are we gonna make this thing? I knew I loved real estate, but I was making like zero. And like guys in the office who were making like $1 million a year and commissioners were making zero. I'm like, this is gonna be tough. So I said to my wife, Melanie, I said, Melanie, how about this? How about we move in with my brother into a small condo? She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, and the baby's on the way. She's like, huh? I'm like, yeah, well, if we can do that, I can keep this real estate thing alive. And she says, okay, well, how are we gonna keep food on the table? I said, well, I'll get a job at whatever it takes. I'll get a job at Cheesecake Factory, and I'll start serving cheesecake on the weekends and nights. So that's what I began to do. For 60, 70 hours, I would work, Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week, and just grind during the day and learn real estate. And then by night, I'd serve cheesecake. And that was the story. In fact, I would hide from clients who were in the other room because I was trying to get their $3 million listing, okay? And I was embarrassed. Now, I can share the story now because, you might be in the beginning of your career, you might be struggling or making a transition to a new career. And I'm on this side of success now, but it wasn't without all of the blood, sweat, and tears. And then talking about belief, my wife believing in me enough and our future and the vision that we had for our marriage and our kids, and she wanted to stay home full time, and we were able to achieve that through perseverance, through cutting expenses, through living with my brother into a small condo. So fast forward into real estate, bumpy road along the way, I learned about EXP, and I was hesitant. In fact, I kind of just dismissed it. I didn't even look at the model. As a commercial real estate broker, you're taught to underwrite properties and look at cash flows and projections and all of those things. But I didn't even look at it. I was like, I'll dismiss it. This is like 5 years ago. Okay, 6 years ago probably now. And I didn't look at it and have an open mind. I kind of just thought, hey, I'm commercial. I'm capital gains tax solutions. I'm not residential, and I'm not MLM. So in my mind, I didn't look at it, okay, and I dismissed it. And it wasn't until Matthew Stewart, who, by the way, is amazing in everything he does. Talk about speaking life and challenging and encouraging. He has become a mentor, and he's a great friend. But we were friends and competitors. We played basketball Saturday mornings at William Jessup University, and we would compete. And I knew him prior to his EXP days. But he gives me a call about 2 years ago, and he says, hey, Brett, I'm with EXP. I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard of that. I'm like, how's that going? He's like, well, I want you to take a look at it. And I said, well, I'm commercial. I'm capital gains tax solutions. I don't do residential. You know, he said, well, you might want to take in consideration because there's a couple other people too. You know, Don Yoakum. I'm like, oh yeah, Don was my original manager at KW. I spent a little stint at KW before into Marcus and Millichap. I said, I'll take a look at it. And he goes, well, one other person too, Tom Daves. He's seven different times #1 in the world. And I said, you know what? If it's good enough for those guys, it's probably going to be good enough for me. Like, maybe keep an open mind. So I underwrote the model with Matt. I asked him a ton of questions. I told him immediately, I'm not recruiting anybody. I said, number 2, I'm just going to be closing transactions. Like, I don't want to, I'm probably not going to be attending a lot of these meetings. He said, hey, no problem. You know, you just come on in if you like, and you'll get a chance to get a feel for it. But as I began to learn and listen and actually absorb and be around everybody in EXP, it's like, these are my people. This is my family. Like, this is what I've been waiting for. Marcus and Millichap was very, very competitive. I love them for all that they did, but I wasn't on the right side of the quadrant. If anyone read Rich Dad Poor Dad, you know, the cash flow quadrant, right? You're either a business owner, or you're an employee, or you're self-employed, or you're an investor. And to the chance to get on the right side of the quadrant and to see all the things they taught us at Marcus and Millichap was to get on the other side of the phone so you get cash flow. It just clicked, right? It was like, okay, there's recurring income. We're in it together, and then it just got better. Then I got to absorb the culture. So first it was kind of the cash flow and counting on Matt, and then it was the culture, then it was the collaboration, then it was the technology, and then it was like you can't put EXP in a box, right? You literally can't put it in a box. It's more than just a real estate company. It's a leadership company. It's more than just those two things. It's a ability to create freedom for your clients and ourselves, and so now I'm 100% a believer. So I'm like, more than a 10 out of 10. And for those who don't know me, I do run capital gains tax solutions, and I'm a believer in that. And like, I absolutely love what I'm doing, but I'm finding myself like, oh my gosh, I can't marry 2 women, right? But it's coming all together, and it's helping everyone together, right? And so the deferred sales trust and capital gains tax solutions, and with EXP, everything together, I can't give it my highest recommendation. I can get higher. I wish I could give it higher than I do now, and I love it. And that's my story.
Thank you very much. He didn't know he was coming up, and he comes up and he whispers in my ear, what am I talking about? And that's exactly what we wanted to hear. So thank you for all you do. Brett and I did a podcast when he first came into the company, and I'm like, this guy's special. I called Matthew and said, this guy's special, and he's got a niche that's incredibly powerful. It's an area that you might want to look at talking to him about, and I appreciate you sharing, man. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Let's do one more, and then we're going to get on to our program here. Doug Watson, you in the room anywhere? Again, didn't ask you about this, but I'd like you to come up and share with us a little bit. So, Doug, how long at EXP?
I think 4 months.
We're friends.
4 months.
How you doing? Look at the camera. 4 months in EXP. Where'd you come from?
Remax.
Remax. How long?
Off and on for 6 years, I think. I
Okay.
moved around a little bit.
So Remax, pretty identifiable model, 100% commission, typically top agents. What intrigued you about EXP, and if you remember, what were those deciding factors that happened?
Man, I've had various people kind of try to introduce the EXP model to me. I never really was interested in hearing it too much.
Can you tell me why?
I think I was just kind of, I guess it was also, I thought it was an MLM type of thing. I just didn't think that it was going to work for me. I don't know.
Pause and look at the crowd for, right? So he didn't think it was for him. He was not open to it at the time. It wasn't the model, it was timing, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I think, and someone, Matthew is the one that finally, well, I'll be honest, my daughter just got her license 10 months ago.
Yay!
Stand up, Sophia.
She's filming Dad.
Yeah, so we've been working together for the last 10 months, and I was at Remax when she first got her license, so we were looking for something that that she would be excited about as well. And then Matthew, I know Lexi, his wife, through Title and Escrow.
That's why we all love Matthew.
Yeah. So, and we love Lexi, right? And I didn't know Matthew, and Lexi and I had a conversation and told me that Matthew was with EXP, and so she immediately called him, and they called us back within the hour, and we sat down with Matthew at a Mexican restaurant and went over the whole program, and we were sold.
Awesome.
And my daughter is like, that's where we're going, Dad.
So
There's no question about it.
So I think this is the important part for them personally, is the transitional piece from when you went from I'm not really interested, it's an MLM belief-wise, right? Which is respectable, I understand. When did it change? Because this is important for them to understand. If you can,
Yeah. So, I'm looking, every year, I look back at RE/MAX and I'm paying them $35,000 a year in commissions, overall, and I'm going, wow, it's a lot of money. And I'm a single breadwinner, I have 5 children, and I'm thinking 35 grand, that's some change,
what was your split?
So, RE/MAX, so I was on about $7,000 was they called my wrap,
Right.
but then there's an admin fee.
Correct.
That just sucks you dry.
Yeah.
That thing just it's a big chunk of change every transaction.
We just brought a RE/MAX agent that was on a 98.2 with no franchise fee. It was grandfathered in. And I said, that's awesome, but what'd you pay? She goes, I'm on 98.2, you can't beat that. I said, but what'd you pay? And
Right.
she ended up paying like $47,000 a year, and she's an icon. So again, you have to explore and dig into that, right?
Yeah. RE/MAX will say you're on 7, you're paying 7, but we look back and you're paying, quite a bit.
Right.
So 35,000, and then I'm at the production level where I think I could icon. So in talking to Matthew, just the thought of getting that $16,000 back in stock, and virtually wiping out that $35,000 a year that I'm paying is pretty exciting.
That is exciting. So you have big dreams and goals for EXP now?
Yeah,
Right?
I do. I'm excited.
Did you have those at RE/MAX? I'm more curious, honestly, because I was a RE/MAX guy as well. It wasn't on the radar for a model like this.
No, not at all. I mean, production, yes, of course, you want to boost your production and do what you can to do that. But EXP, there's just so many different avenues of income. Not just the production, but the stock is fantastic. And then the recruiting, And for me, it's easy for me to share that, I think, that story to other agents who are producing that could icon. I mean, you'd be crazy, you're right, you're crazy not to come. You really are.
So in the beginning, and again, I'm digging in because I'm really curious about this. In the beginning, were you interested in recruiting, or what was the attraction to the model? Was it the compensation model? Was it the stocks? Was it both?
All of it, really.
Okay.
The recruiting, I have to admit, when I first came on, I just wanted to recruit, and I've not made a huge attempt to recruit. I've got a couple of people that I know well that I brought over, but I haven't taken that step to really focus on recruiting. So.
And that's okay. I want to let you know that most people take time to let that set in and digest and get acclimated with the company. I brought on people that my expectation was they were going to add 30 people in the first 30 days because they have that massive influence, and they did 0. And if I judge them, then that's unfair for them, right? So you have to let people kind of unfold that as it's going to be for their transition in their business, okay? I see a lot of head nodding, so that means you're understanding this, right? Don't should on them. Right? Don't should on what they should be doing. Embrace them. It's okay to keep encouraging, but events build belief, and you're going to see that events really are the key.
Yeah, we went to, when we first decided to join the Cabo was the event coming up, and so Matthew invited us to Cabo. We did that Cabo trip even before my license was fully transferred, and that was a real amazing experience, and just gives you a lot of motivation.
I love that.
So really nice. Yeah, I love the people. Everybody's just extremely friendly and willing to share their knowledge and experience. So it's really a family, it feels, and it's just love it. We love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're glad to have you.
Thank
Thank you very much. Big round of applause.